Hello viewers, welcome to This Week in History where we learn from the past to move forward. Hi, I'm Adeni Adiola. Hitler is born. Adolf Hitler, 1889 to 1945, was born in Braunau am Inn, Austria. As leader of Nazi Germany from 1933 to 1945, he waged a war of expansion in Europe, precipitating the death of an estimated 50 million persons through military conflict, and through the Holocaust, in which the Nazis attempted to exterminate the entire Jewish population of Europe. Abortion is legalized. April 25, 1967, the first law legalizing abortion was signed by Colorado Governor John Love, allowing abortions in cases in which a panel of 3 doctors anonymously agreed. Inventor of radio is born. Radio inventor Guglielmo Marconi, 1874 to 1937, was born in Bologna, Italy. He pioneered the use of wireless telegraphy in the 1890s. By 1921, Marconi's invention had been developed into wireless telephony, voice radio. South Africa experienced free votes for the first time. April 26, 1994, multiracial elections were held for the first time in the history of South Africa, with approximately 18 million blacks voting. Nelson Mandela was elected president and F.W. de Klerk vice president. German birds poison gas. On April 22, 1915, German forces shock Allied soldiers along the Western Front by firing more than 150 tons of lethal chlorine gas against 2 French colonial divisions at Ypres, Belgium. This was the first major gas attack by the Germans, and it devastated the Allied line. Toxic smoke has been used occasionally in warfare since ancient times, and in 1912, the French used small amounts of tear gas in police operations. At the outbreak of the World War I, the Germans began activities to develop chemical weapons. In October 1914, the Germans placed some small tear gas canisters in the shells that were fired at Neuve Chapelle, France. But Allied troops were not exposed. In January 1915, the Germans fired shells loaded with bromide, a more lethal gas, at Russian troops at Bolimov on the Eastern Front. Because of the wintry cold, most of the gas froze. But the Russians, nevertheless, reported more than 1,000 killed as a result of the new weapon. No seduction in Oyo. Oyo passes a statute that makes seduction unlawful, covering all men over the age of 18 who worked as teachers and instructors of women. This law even prohibited men from having consensual sex with women of any age whom they were instructing. The penalty for disobeying this law ranged from 2 to 10 years in prison. Oyo's seduction law was not the first of its kind. A Virginia law made it illegal for a man to have an illicit connection with any unmarried female of previous chaste character, if the man did so by promising to marry the girl. An 1848 New York law made it illegal to, under promise of marriage, seduce any unlawful for men to seduce a virtuous unmarried female. These laws were only sporadically enforced, but a few men were actually prosecuted and convicted. In Michigan, a man was convicted of 3 counts of seduction. But the appeal court did everything in its power to overturn the decision. It threw out 2 charges because of the defense reason that the woman was no longer virtuous after the couple's first encounter. The other charge was overturned after the defense claimed that the woman's testimony that they had sex in a buggy was medically impossible. On some occasions, women used these laws in order to coerce men into marriage. A New York man in the middle of an 1867 trial that was headed towards conviction proposed to the alleged victim. The local minister was summoned, and the trial instantly became a marriage ceremony. United States gets first president. April 30, 1789, George Washington became the first U.S. president as he was administered the oath of office on the balcony of Federal Hall at the corner of Wall and Broad Street in New York City. Muhammad Ali punished by United States. On April 28, 1967, boxing champion Muhammad Ali refuses to be inducted into the U.S. Army and is immediately stripped of his heavyweight title. Ali, a Muslim, cited religious reasons for his decision to forego military service. Born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. in Louisville, Kentucky, on January 14, 1942. The future three-time world champ changed his name to Muhammad Ali in 1964 after converting to Islam. He scored a gold medal at the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome and made his professional boxing debut against Tony Osaka on October 29, 1960, winning the bout in 6 rounds. On February 25, 1964, he defeated the heavily favored bruiser Sonny Liston in 6 rounds to become heavyweight champ. At January 24, 1974 rematch at New York City Madison Square Garden, Ali defeated Frazier by decision in 12 rounds. On October 30 of that same year, an underguard Ali bested George Foreman and reclaimed his heavyweight champion belt at the hugely hyped Rumble in the Jungle in Kiansa, Zaire, with a knockout in the 8th round. On October 1, 1975, Ali met Joe Frazier for a 3rd time at the Thrilla in Manila, in the Philippines, and defeated him in 14 rounds. On February 15, 1978, Ali lost the title to Leon Spinks in a 15-round split decision. However, 7 months later, on September 15, Ali won it back. In June 1979, Ali announced he was retiring from boxing. He returned to the ring on October 2, 1980, and fought heavyweight champ Larry Holmes, who knocked him out in the 11th round after losing to Trevor Bebrick on December 11, 1981. Ali left the ring for the final time. It was a 5-6-5 record. He is the only fighter to be heavyweight champion 3 times. In 1984, it was revealed that Ali had Parkinson's disease. He died on June 3, 2016. Thanks for staying tuned. I remain Adeni Adiola. Have a wonderful weekend.